Hello, everyone, and welcome to our third self-care gathering. I'm Kate Forrest, and today we're going to be talking about the healing gifts of nature. And we'll review a little bit from our first two self-care gatherings, where we covered Principle 1 of self-care and mindful living, which is connect to the moment, and Principle 2, which is practice kindness to yourself and others. So this week, we're going to weave those two principles into this third gathering, Connect with Nature, and learning a little bit about the healing gifts of nature and how it can help us. So hello, and that's what we're going to be working on this week. So let's start with that transition breath that I've been sharing with you. And just give ourselves permission to pause for a few breaths. So come into a comfortable place so that you're balanced on both sides. Maybe if you're in a chair, your feet are flat on the floor. And just notice what's happening for you as you settle into this place, whatever this place is for you right now. So as this is our third gathering together, we've been talking about body awareness, and that's just what I guided you through, noticing your body and then adjusting it so that you're comfortable, and then noticing your breathing. Don't change it, just watch how the breath is flowing for a moment. And then invite the breath in a little fuller, a little slower, not huge and deep, just slightly fuller, in and out through the nose if you can. If not, breathe how you need to breathe. We talked about the practice of quiet connection last week also. So as you breathe, just listening to that quiet. Now, you may not be in quiet right now, I understand that, but can you bring your awareness inward and listen maybe to your breathing, maybe to the sounds in nature? I know some of you are outside right now. And then when you exhale, lower your chin towards your chest. Let's just start with some easy shoulder rolls and neck stretches to let go of some of this tightness. Maybe roll your chin a little bit from side to side. And pause at center, lift your head, and here comes the shoulder rolls. Let them be easy. And reverse your circles. And just pausing right here and noticing how you feel after maybe 2 minutes of pausing and breathing and connecting to the moment. Remember Principle 1, connect to the moment. This is one way we can do it. By pausing, noticing our body, our breath, and adjusting our body and breathing to be calm and balanced and open. That is a beautiful way to practice kindness to yourself. Principle 2, practice kindness to yourself and others. And when we practice that kindness to ourselves, we're better able to practice kindness to each other because we have more compassion toward ourselves. We can have more compassion towards others. So, notice if you feel a little bit more present now, a little bit more connected to us, connected to yourself, connected to whatever situation you're finding yourself in right now. So as I am going through today's program, I'll be doing similar to what I did last week, asking you to share how your self-care commitment went last week, and I'll be pausing the recording for that time together to help you feel more comfortable sharing. Excuse me. And if you're practicing after we record this live session, When we pause, remember, use that as your time of reflection to notice what's happening inside of you, or whatever reflective question I'm asking you at that time. Just give yourself permission to ease through this. There's no rush. There's no have-tos. This is fully to support you in your work, in your life, in your home. In whatever it is you do, these self-care breaks and self-care skills can support you through this practice of mindful self-care. So let's share our breaths. Sigh it away, perhaps. And I'm going to go back to sharing the screen. All right. So give yourself permission to pause, breathe, and connect to the moment. That's what we just did. I encourage you to print this slide out and post it somewhere to give yourself that reminder, like, oh yeah, let me just pause, let me breathe. Notice how you're feeling. We talked last week about noticing your thoughts. Maybe if you post this somewhere and you notice your thoughts when you look at it and you realize, okay, my thoughts are a little anxious, but I can control that somewhat. I can pause my body, I can pause my thoughts, and I can focus on my breathing for 10 seconds, 20 seconds, 3 minutes. Whatever feels right to you in that moment, just the whole foundation of this program of mindful self-care is on that pause and breathe and connect to yourself in the moment. So today, Principle 3, connect with nature. So I'm not going to read the screen. That's for your benefit to look over after. But for me, connecting to the moment is, connecting to nature is for me to get outside every day. To get outside, and if I can't get outside, maybe I stand out on the porch, or maybe I look out the window and notice the clouds or the trees, and I take those easy breaths. But when I go outside, I set an intention to deeply engage my senses so that I can see and hear and feel and taste and smell nature around me. And we will do an activity based on that today. So when we get out in nature, it has this very soothing effect, or it can have a very soothing effect if we are engaging our senses. It can calm our nervous system. It can give our minds something else to focus on, such as the sounds of the birds, or the sound of the wind, or the breeze on our skin and how it feels. So that's where we'll be going a little bit today. And we'll review some of the self-care breaks that we did last week, and then talk about, okay, which one of these breaks did you fit into your self-care commitment? Pause the recording and then talk a little bit more about that. And I just looked down at my screen, and I really want to say this point because I introduced it last week in the practice kindness. When we practice kindness to ourselves, it's easier to practice kindness to others. And energy of others is contagious, just as our energy is contagious. And what do I mean when I say that is, have you ever been in a space and you're feeling calm and you're feeling comfortable, and somebody walks into that space and they are upset or anxious or stressed or angry? Are you able to stay calm in that surrounding? Maybe. If you have a practice that helps you with that, you may. But for many people, they take on that anxious or that angry or that stressed person's energy. So just as that energy is contagious, the energy of calm, the energy of kindness, the energy of patience is contagious as well. So when you show up in a space, even if you've been rushing around, even if you're a few minutes late, can you pause before you enter that space? Can you take a long breath? Can you feel your feet on the ground and mindfully enter that space so that when you enter, you're calmer and you're able to help everyone else in that space be a little calmer because they can feel that energy radiating off of you. Now, why do I refer back to practice kindness to yourself and others? Because this kindness ripples and it helps those around you to have peaceful and positive experiences as well, which transfers forward to the next person they meet and the next person they meet, and so on. So that's my philosophy, my belief on why self-care is world care. Because when you're kinder to yourself, you're kinder to others, and this ripples out and affects our entire world. And our world really needs your kindness and patience and love towards yourself right now. All right, everybody, share a breath with me. So these are the self-care breaks that we're going to be reviewing now. And these are the 8 that we've done. And maybe you wanted to do a print screen on this so you have this at some other point before you get the slides, because you will be getting them if they're not already attached to the program you're watching. But I'm not going to teach them in this order. I'm just going to teach them in a little bit of a different order, because there's no hard rules in this mindful self-care. You can practice 1 of these or 2 of these, or just mix and match them in a way that works in your body, in your life in that moment. So I just want to check in with all of you. I turned on the screen so I can see you. Just everybody give me a wave if you can all hear me and see me, please. Oh, good. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I see the little one. Thanks for sharing. Yay. All right. And if you could all remute yourselves again, please. Ada, if you could mute yourself, please. Thank you.
Yes.
Gotcha. All right. Okay. So here we go. So we'll be moving and breathing a little bit now. Take a sip of water. All right, there, now you can see all of me. So remember this, the self-care singing bowl. And with this, I'm going to combine the transition breath and the mindful listening with quiet connection. So I'll guide us through it together. Remember, this is a very soothing sound for many people. If it doesn't feel right or comfortable on your ears, just lightly cup them and breathe with us. Okay. So that transition breath, we adjust our posture. We share a long, slow breath together, eyes opened or closed, either way is fine. And then when I invite the sound of the bowl, remember, just breathe and listen. And then when the sound stops, just listen to the quiet that follows the sound. Ready? Let's share a breath. Okay. You may still be able to hear this, or maybe not, but this is what she looks like. This is what the inside of her looks like. This is a hand-hammered bowl made in Nepal by some artisans that I got at a fair trade store. So just a little lesson there. we'll take it into, we did 2 standing breaks in our last few sessions together, and I'm going to combine them both. So if you're in a place where you can come to standing and still see me, please do so now. And if you're not, you can do this sequence from your chair too. All right, let me adjust the camera. And there we are. All right, so we'll start in standing mountain. The feet are about hip distance apart, give or take, little bend to the knees, not too much. And then lift up tall, rest your arms by your side, and let's share that long, slow transition breath. Bringing your hands to your heart center, palms touching, and just feel that. Your palms, your hands touching. And as we move through this self-care movement break, remember, if it hurts, don't do it. If you need to back up, back off out of the posture, do so slowly and mindfully. I'll give you a few variations. You choose what you need, right? This is about taking responsibility for your own self-care, and that starts with listening to your body. Long breath in and out. And the next time you inhale, slow motion, raise your arms up. And if you have shoulder soreness, maybe you want to keep them here. Some of you may be able to interlace, and others still maybe a little higher. Easy breathing in and out through your nose, and then we'll lean from side to side just a little. Stretching out the side body. Take your time, there is no rush. Absolutely no rush. It's about slowing down your breathing, slowing down your movements. And sometimes that can help us to slow down our thoughts. Long breath in, and on your exhale, begin to lower your arms down and really feel your arms as they come down, that body awareness. Feel the arms, the shoulders, the breath. And then step your feet a little wider apart, not too much, and turn your toes out. So just turn your toes out a bit and lift up. And then wait for your in-breath to bring your arms up into that star posture. Look up. If you have younger people in your life, this is a great way to have them practice with you. This is a star moon sequence. Now we come down to moon. And if we're talking about the healing gifts of nature in our principle 3, connect to the moment, this is one way we can do it. Inhale to star and exhale to moon. And I'm pretty sure I just said principle 3, connect to the moment, but I meant to say connect to nature with this star moon. So your feet are in the ground. Just a few more times. If you get tired, pause and breathe with us. Last round. And then from here, let's take it right into that calming, restful breath. One hand rests on the heart, the other somewhere on the belly or above the navel, and toe heel slowly your feet together, back to hip distance. And either close or halfway close your eyes and just feel yourself breathing here. Feel what's happening inside of you. And then let your arms rest down. Notice what's going on, what's real for you in this moment. And then I'll take it back to my seated position, come back to your chair or whatever it is you're sitting on. You can do these on the floor too. All right, here we are, back. And I'm going to back up a little bit. So the seated twist, your feet are flat on the floor, press them down a little bit to help you lengthen up. And then remember, if you have back pain, don't do this. Just breathe with us or maybe twist a little bit. Take your hand to the chair behind you, your other hand to the opposite knee, and look out over your shoulder. Or maybe keep your head forward. Just a few breaths here. Unwind slowly and right into the other side. Fill the body slow and tender with the breath. And on your exhale, untwist. Close or halfway close your eyes if you can. And that supportive thinking breath. As you inhale, slowly, silently repeat to yourself, calm, and try to feel calm. And as you exhale, say to yourself silently, patience, and try to feel patient. Let's do this a few times on your own. Inhaling calm, exhaling patience. And the next time you exhale, just breathe naturally, letting go of that supportive thinking breath. And notice how you feel now compared to how you felt before you started this program with me today. Do you feel in any way more grounded, calmer, quieter inside? Maybe, maybe not. This is a practice, and all we're doing is practicing together. And the more you practice, the more your body, mind, and heart will understand what we're asking of it. Asking our minds to be calmer and our bodies to be more relaxed. Just retraining ourselves. So that was that piece. And now I'd like to hear from you. What of those 8 self-care breaks from our first 2 gatherings did you choose to practice in your self-care commitment? And how did it go for you? Did you have challenges? What were your benefits? What are your questions? So if you are, excuse me, if you are watching this recording and it's after the live session, so then you would just pause here and from last week in your self-care commitment, what did you choose to practice? And just write in your self-care journal how that went for you or reflect on it. All right. So I am going to pause the recording now and unmute us. So we'll share for a little bit, have a mindful conversation, and we will be back to see you in a few moments. So we are back, and we had some beautiful awarenesses and shares about how quick and easy these practices are and how useful that they have been for many of you. So thank you. for sharing that. Okay, so let's get into the self-care breaks that we're going to practice for helping us to connect with nature. I know that during the share, one of you talked about how important it is for you and your family to get out in nature, and that's the same for me. So if I wasn't able to get out in nature every day during what we're experiencing now with this quarantine, I wouldn't be able to be as calm and as grounded for myself and as supportive for others as I can be during this time. So it really supports me getting outside every day. And if I don't, then I at least stand out on my patio, like I said earlier, and just share some breaths. So this meditation I'm going to guide us through now, it's going to be 2 or 3 minutes. And I'm going to ask that you close your eyes, but I know that's not comfortable for everyone. So if you prefer to keep your eyes open, keep them open, but just focus them downward so you're not distracted. Okay? This first meditation, it's engage your senses, and I call it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So close or halfway close your eyes. Share a few long, slow breaths. And envision yourself outside. And if you're outside, you can keep your eyes open and practice this. And you are in one of the most beautiful, comforting places that you know, and it's just you and nature. And if that thought makes you a little anxious, then maybe it's you and someone else in nature. But otherwise, let it be you. And you are standing on the ground. You're feeling your feet connected to the earth. Looking around. Listening. Feeling. And what is it that you are seeing? Can you identify 5 things that you see in your mind's eye in this moment? Let them be calming things that you are envisioning. Just take a few breaths on that. Engaging deeply the sense of seeing, deeply looking. Breathing as you do this, still feeling your feet on the ground. And what is it you can hear in this moment? Can you identify 4 things that you can hear? Just listen, bringing that practice of mindful listening and engaging our senses right here in whatever your view of nature, magnificence is right now. And what can you feel in this moment? Perhaps the ground under your feet or the breeze on your skin, whatever it is, just 3 things that you can feel in this moment. And if you can only come up with 2, that's okay. These are just numbers. Just let this be easy, no rules. And what are 2 things that you can smell? And taste. What is one thing that you can taste? Maybe there's some berries near you, or you've brought an apple or something But what is one thing that you can taste? And then come back to your breathing. Come back to feeling your feet on the ground. And with your eyes still closed or your gaze still down, notice what that was like for you, what that is like for you. And then from here, I'm going to take us into a grounding self-care movement break. So it's very similar to the ones we just did. So if you'd like, you can come up to standing with me. And as you move slowly, move with awareness. Now I'm going to adjust the camera. Okay, so we're standing in mountain. Arms to the side, long, slow breath. On your next inhale, bring your arms up and halfway down. Step your feet out. Turn your toes out and come into moon. And back to star, really feeling your feet a few times. Remember to time your breathing with your movement. And then we step our feet back together and then go into that half moon. So if you look, there's this beautiful half moon shape down the side. Don't go too far. If it hurts, come back and just breathe with us. One more side. And then bring your palm. Bring your arms out. These are like branches of a tree. And envision yourself as a tree here with both feet firmly planted in the earth. Maybe even roots growing down, helping you to be steady and stable, even in adversity. Breath is slow and easy. If your arms are sore, lower them and just stand and breathe. No two trees look alike. What is your tree right now? And rest your hands on your heart and shift your breath. Rest your arms down. And this is something you can do anytime, like feel your feet on the ground. Maybe even envision roots growing down into the earth to help you feel that sense of connection to nature, but also steady and stable and strong and soft. Trees have softness to them as well. And then coming back to sit. Excuse me one moment. All right. So those are the 2 new self-care breaks we did this week, and I encourage you to get outside and engage your senses. You can do that same activity inside as well if you're not able to get outside. Okay, now, these are the 10 self-care breaks that we practiced in our first 3 self-care gatherings. So take a moment and look through these. You may find that the ones that you've been practicing are just right for you, and you want to keep practicing those same 1 or 2 self-care breaks from last week and the week before. There's no rush, like I keep saying. You can integrate these slowly and steadily over the next year of your life. Find the ones that work for you. Try them for a few weeks, and then try new ones. See how that goes. So pick 1 or 2. that you will commit to practicing this week. And in just a moment, we'll pause the recording. And as you look over this list, remember those long, slow breaths. You can do this here. Take that practice of deep looking into this list and choose the one or ones. Maybe you want to do it just in your personal life, or maybe you want to choose a commitment for your personal and your professional life, which I highly encourage. Okay, so here is that self-care commitment. And in just a moment, I'll pause the screen so we can talk about it. But remember, the kinder and more patient you are to yourself, the kinder and more patient and more effective in your many roles and responsibilities you can be. So which one or ones are you committing to practicing this week? Going to just guide you through a few breaths over this next moment as you reflect on that. And I'm going to go back to the previous screen so that you can have that in front of you. And maybe you have your own dedicated self-care journal to write these down. And if you don't, you might want to get one. Just breathe easily as you choose your two. And going to pause the recording so that we can talk about what we're committing to this week. And we'll be back in a few. If you're watching this during the recording, just use this time, probably 2, 3, 4 minutes, to write down what you're going to practice and where you're going to practice it. For example, I'm going to practice the transition breath every time I leave a building after I've been inside it for a while. And then you leave that building, you take a breath, pause for a second or two, and then continue. All right. I'm going to pause the recording, everybody. And we'll be back. All right, everybody, we are back. So we had some really, really beautiful shares. And quite a few people picked the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 outdoor meditation of engaging the senses. And the supportive thinking breath, where you're breathing in calm and patience, and others are going to put sticky notes with the pause and breathe around. And of course, I encourage you to do that anyways. A sticky note, a note, index card, whatever it is, pause and breathe. And you'll notice I do that many times, many times. I always say you breathe 17,000 to 24,000 times a day, give or take, the average human body. Why not make some of those breaths conscious and use it to practice your own self-care? So, thank you so much, everybody, for showing up for yourself, for caring kindly for yourself. Please continue to do so throughout the week. And we will gather next week for Self-Care Gathering 4, which is learning how to cultivate deeper sense of gratitude. It's just a little bit of piece of it in how we weave in other things that we've learned in their previous programs. So thank you all. Take care of yourselves. Oh, you're so, so welcome. So welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. Take care of you, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.